My name is Bill Sprague. I'm one of the safety supervisors here at Prime. I started here about 10 years ago in the citations department. The past 5 years I've been a safety supervisor here at Prime, and one of my main responsibilities after moving into this department is to try and work with the technology we have and identify drivers that have a risky or aggressive driving behavior and try to change that behavior before it leads into an accident. We now have technology on our trucks that identifies a risky or aggressive driving behavior, and it allows us to see that in a snapshot. So the 4 different events that we look at, the first one is going to be the hard brake. A hard brake means that that truck has been decelerated at a rate of 9 miles an hour or more per second. This is a very aggressive brake. If you have a history of hard brakes, you're at risk to finally that event causing an accident to happen because we're reacting too late to the scenarios that are playing out in front of you. Not to mention you take the chance of load shifts. If you shift a load in this line of work, there's a possibility you could pay part of a cargo claim. You work too hard for your money to give any of it back. We want to make sure anything we can do to prevent those things from happening, we're working with you on those. Another one is forward collision warnings. The forward collision warnings mean that that radar that is forward facing in the truck is picking up on a vehicle in front of you and it feels you aren't reacting quick enough. In other words, we are closing on that other vehicle at a rate where a collision is possible. So we got to make sure that we're reacting accordingly to what's going on in front of you. The best way to do that, reduce your speed and increase following distance. That is the biggest 2 things that you can do to help yourself prevent from being in an accident. The third one is roll stability events. A roll stability means there's technology in that truck that has sensed an instability. If you're taking a ramp or a corner too fast and that tractor gets into a lean to the point where it feels like a rollover is imminent, the first thing it's going to do is govern itself. Speed causes a rollover, so it's going to try to let gravity slow you down. If that doesn't do it, or it doesn't do it quick enough, it actually goes into a foundation brakes apply once again to try and slow the roll of that tractor. It's not 100%. If it was, we'd have 0 rollovers. If you roll a truck in this industry, it's a career killer. No one's going to retain you, and right now the industry standard's about 5 years before anybody will look at you, not to mention the expense that's incurred by the company when these rollovers happen. So we have to make sure that a driver's not got a habit of taking ramps or corners too fast. And what we like to identify on those is how fast should we have been going. These are coachable moments. The last one is overspeeds. Now, overspeeds aren't tolerated here because if we're operating a truck of that size at a speed greater than 75 miles an hour, we are a hazard not only to ourselves, but others around us. You got to remember the tires that you're running on that equipment's only rated at a maximum speed of 75 miles an hour. So if you're exceeding this and causing an overspeed, that means you're running that truck at least 75 miles an hour for over 30 seconds. That means we're loaded and we're going downhill, and whatever's happening at the bottom of that hill, you're going to be involved in it. So if you're exceeding the speed rating on a tire, you have to remember that causes excessive heat. Excessive heat can cause a blowout, and a blowout at those speeds is going to be catastrophic. So if you're routed in to speak with a member of the safety department for critical events, don't look at it as a negative. This is our way of trying to prevent you from ever being involved in an accident, and the only way we can do that is by changing habits. And the only way we can change habits is to show you how the technology works and show you ways to prevent them. So if you have any questions, always feel free to contact the safety department.